Audio check, 1, 2, 3. Audio check, audio check, audio check. Welcome ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Motive Racing YouTube channel here for another season on ACC. We are here on a Wednesday night for the first time in a long time on a Wednesday night. We have got some action out on track. We've got the Sprint GT3 League here at Motive, which we used to run on the PS4, but we're bringing it back here on the PS5 now that the PS5 has kind of got a very solid following here on ACC. We've got 15 drivers currently in the session right now. I realised I made a bit of a mistake with setting up the channels on the Discord server, and as such, basically the driver lineup for the Sprint Championship here on ACC was not even out, was not even public for people to see on the Discord server, so nobody had any idea of the fact that there was channels set up for the league on the server, because I hadn't made them visible. I hadn't set the permissions correctly, so nobody could actually see them. So the first sign that anybody saw that we were racing tonight, or that any confirmation that we were going ahead, was literally the confirmation page which says check in to say you're racing tonight. But there was no driver lineup, there was no official schedule, nothing, official looking on the Discord server. So I reckon that's probably why we're missing a few drivers tonight. There's a few people who've had issues. I know that Tony's okay has had a power cut. There's a couple of guys with issues, and we're missing a couple of people who I would have, almost expected to be certain to turn up tonight. PS Vids, Ludo, Jill Silverin, confused about those guys. I'm not quite sure where they are, but yeah, ultimately we're here for the one-shot qualifying session to kick the evening off. We've got obviously everyone has one chance to do a lap time. If you don't get over the line before the clock hits 0, then that's it. You've had your chance, and that's your opportunity gone. So who's going to be making the most of their one chance here tonight? We've got Kev Sim coming around the final corner. He's just behind one of the other cars there, which is a Ferrari there, and of Arlampa, who goes into P1 on a 43.7. There goes Kev Sim on a 43.1, and Luca just goes quicker than all of them there on a 42.7. But Max Power 42.5 goes top of the leaderboard here. Max Power on provisional pole. Lexi May can only manage P5. Lowell 3000 goes into 6th place, as in the background there. You've got, that was Tynus, who went P1, so Tynus in the house there, putting it at the top of the leaderboard in the BMW. Great lap there from him. Just looking elsewhere, we've got Kangi coming out of the final corner. He's got a bit of a slipstream here off of Fierce Mars, as these two dragging each other to the line. And who's going to be doing a quicker lap time out of these two? Kangi does a quicker lap, goes P5. Fierce Mars puts it in 8th place. Robe's gone 4th, the Tier 2 champion for the Sunday GT3 Championship here at Motive. Caprigia puts it P5, 1 place behind Robe. We're still waiting on Snoopy to come up towards the line. He's just behind G Sanks, as we can see there. They're coming over the line. So Snoopy goes into 9th. G Sanks went 11th. Karmasar and Charkazulu didn't get laps in here in this qualifying session. So it is going to be Tynus in the house who will be on pole position for the first ever GT3 Sprint League race here at Motive on the PlayStation 5. 4/10 clear of Max Power. So quite a dominant pole, you've got to say. But I'm sure the races are going to be absolutely action-packed. It's going to be very close and tight, and there's no pit stops. They are sprint races, 30-minute races here for the sprint. For the Sprint League here at Motive, so it's really just about getting yourself in the zone straight away. Fednad has jumped into session, which is good to see, but we'll have to start from the back, obviously, due to the fact that he jumped in a little bit late. So Fednad here can start from the pits or rather, if he can get his setup configured quickly here, we'll actually be able to start from the back, but it will be the back of the grid at best here for Fednad. Hopefully we see Totally Zero K jumping in at some point tonight, because he said he got a power cut, but fingers crossed he can get it all together for race 2. He's more than welcome to jump in for the second race of the night if he's able to get that sorted out. But guys, I want to say a big warm welcome to everybody tuning in live here on the Motive Racing channel tonight. If you guys are enjoying what you're seeing, please do smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you're watching for the first time and you race on the PS5 on ACC, then please go to www.motiveracing.com. Get yourself involved in the on-track action. We've got plenty of leagues. We've got the Sprint Cup on, which is obviously right in front of us here on a Wednesday. The main GT3 Championship on a Sunday, which is 1 hour endurance races. We've got 2 tiers for that one, and we've still got spaces in our second tier as well, so plenty to get involved with. The Saturday Porsche Super Cup, I'm not quite sure if we're going to be able to go ahead with it, because we haven't really got enough sign-ups for it, so it's going to be really about Wednesday and Sunday for ACC. I need to put an announcement out on that, but apologies if anybody's heartbroken hearing that news. I think maybe some of the Porsche Cup guys might be a bit relieved, because I think a lot of people have signed up without really knowing too much about them, so maybe we might have to just wait another season or 2 before we start extending to 3 divisions. So I think 2 nights a week probably is where we're at the moment in terms of what we've got. But yeah, I'm sorry to let anyone down. I'm sorry to break the news on stream. To be honest, I much prefer talking to typing, so I'm much better at saying the news on a stream than I am at typing it out in the announcements page, I must say. So that's the reason why I say a lot of these things on live streams rather than on the actual Discord. But I will be putting out an announcement as well for those who aren't watching tonight, because it'd be big-headed of me to assume that every single person who races in the league is watching here tonight. That's probably not the case, but nonetheless, we're getting off the line here. So it's a full formation lap. I did actually finally become G Portal literate, which is the service that we use to run our servers here at Motive. So I've worked out how to use G Portal properly, and basically I've figured out how to actually put a full formation lap on, something that I should have figured out a very long time ago, but didn't, because I'm just not competent. But 16 drivers in a session here for the Sprint League here at Motive on a Wednesday here on the PS5, and we said that one-shot qualifying session a few moments ago, which determined the grid. It was quite a sort of a frantic session, wasn't it, really? So lots of drivers coming over the line pretty much one after the other, lots of slipstreaming going on, lots of teamwork, albeit looking like the BMWs are very quick here tonight. I don't think they've really been helping each other out too much, but Tinus, Max Power, Luca are the top 3 drivers, all racing in the BMW. It seems to be the car of choice in the GT3 Sprint League here. I wonder if it'll be the same situation on a Sunday for the main championship. But we've got the McLaren of Robe, the highest non-BMW out on track. You've got Capriglia in the Lambo, driving in the same car that he drove last season in the GT3 Championship. Nonetheless, we've got a few comments coming in here on the stream right now. We've got Andrew saying, let's go. Totally Zero K saying, hi, supporting through my phone screen. A standing start. I've never seen this in the game. Oh, I thought a standing start. No, so basically it's yeah, so it's a full formation lap essentially. Sebastian in the comments, a sprint race, so what does that entail? No mandatory pit stops. I mean, the only one where I've seen that people liked it in real life was in F2, so good luck with the idea. Yeah, we do the endurance, the 1 hour with the pit stop races on Sunday, which we've got 2 tiers for. This one's not as popular, partly I think due to the fact that it's in midweek, but I think also the fact that people do generally enjoy the endurance races more. But it's something a bit different, isn't it? You know, the endurance, or I mean, you can't really call 1 hour endurance, can you? It's not really endurance, but the longer races, the sort of like the proper distance races, are something I think, you know, a lot more professional. This is something a little bit more fun, a little bit more casual, I think. The Sunday GT3 Championship is sort of like our main event of the week. This is kind of like just something else to do. Do you know what I mean? You know, we run one night a week. It would make sense to run 2. The GT4s on the PS5 probably not really up to scratch. The Porsche Cup car is a little bit of a handful for most people. So obviously GT3 is really the only option in terms of class. So it's just about running something different, a little bit of a change. No pit stops, as we say, just straight out sprint to the line. Close racing, exciting from the word go. And there's no real strategy involved. It's literally go all out for half an hour and just push as hard as you can. But here we come. We're coming into the final corner here. We're about to go racing for the start of the GT3 Sprint League here at Motive Racing. Big warm welcome to everybody tuning in. 12 of you currently watching here live on YouTube. We've got JR in the comments giving me a kiss. Oh, I love you too. But here we are then up towards the line. 14 of you currently watching now as we are just coming up towards the line. Tinus will get us underway. Max Power alongside him on the front row. And here we are, green, green, green. It looks like Caprigia, the number 280, has jumped the start here. So he has got a drive-through penalty, which he must serve in the first 3 laps of the race. But Max Power has just got ahead of Tinus here, coming down towards turn 1. What is going to happen here between these two? Is Tinus going to go late on the brakes? Max Power looks to have got that one done there around the outside. Great stuff there from Max Power. As in the background there, somebody was a little bit wide there. Caprigia got pushed out onto the curve a little bit. But Tinus here, losing out to Max Power. Max Power, your race leader. As we can see there, that Robe's on the back of Luca. You've got Caprigia running there just behind them with his drive-through penalty for jumping the start. And it looks as though Kev Sim's lost out to Kangi, so Kangi's got a position there gained and is up ahead of Kev Sim there, up into 7th place. But our Lamper has had a bit of a nightmare here. He started from the pits because he must have had a mistake. I think he got damage on the formation lap, so he bailed out of the formation lap and has had to start from the pit lane. But Luca just behind the 2 leaders. You've got Robe there ahead of Caprigia, followed by Kangi, Kev Sim, there's Snoopy ahead of G-Sanks, followed by Fierce Mars, Lol 3000 there. Seems to have he lost out to Karmasar, I'm not sure. But quite a clean first lap, I've got to say here. Everybody's still in a pack, still 15 drivers all in a line here, and it's Max Power currently leading us, coming down towards the final sector as Luca's really hassling the back of Tinus, but Tinus is still on the back of Max Power as we come through down the dip here for the first time. But Max Power crucially there, getting a jump on Tinus in the house. 0.4 of a second adrift of Tinus in the qualifying session just gone. So it really made sense for him to get that perfect bite off the line and managed to get himself into track position, sort of position right now. Robe's trying to keep up with the 3 leaders at the moment. You've got Caprigia there coming into the pits to serve his drive-through penalty at the end of the first lap. As we've got G-Sanks just ahead of Fierce Mars, and there's Sharkazuli looking down the inside of Old 3000 into the final corner, and Sharkazuli there making the move up into 11th place. So beautiful move there from him, upper position as Caprigia in the pits now, serving his drive-through penalty at this moment in time. But exciting first lap to the race so far. Sharkazuli there making his way up into P10 ahead of Lol 3000. But in terms of the rest of the pack, no changes really at the moment. Our Lamp is only about 3 seconds off of the back of Lexi, mate. So he's had an absolute stormer of a start after starting from the pits. Caprigia is now out of the pit lane and is into turn 1 after serving his drive-through penalty. So he's got that one done and out of the way. But here they all are. As we can see there, we've got somebody lining up a move coming into this section, and that's Sharkazulu trying to make a move here on Fierce Mars by the looks of it. As in the background there, Lol 3000, Sharkazulu there making a move here up the inside of Fierce Mars. He's going to get that one done, I think, surely. Yes, he does. So Sharkazulu there making another position gain. He's been on fire since the start of this race. We saw him getting ahead of Lol 3000. Now he's ahead of Fierce Mars, and Sharkazulu is up into 9th place. So he's making very quick progress here at the start, but still Max Power leading ahead of Tinus with Luca on the back of these guys. They're pulling away a little bit from Robe, who's got Kangi, Kev Sim, Snoopy there in the background ahead of G-Sanks. Fierce Mars currently in between G-Sanks and Sharkazuli right now with Lol 3000 on the back of them. What has happened to Karmasar here? Karmasar has had an incident with one of the others. Our Lamp is in the pits, and it looks as though Karmasar and Caprigia have had a collision because those two are way down the order, so they've had an absolute nightmare here. Our Lamp are in the pits, so he's getting done some damage repaired, and that's going to really cost him in this race. As in the meantime, Tinus in the house is attacking on the back of Max Power here, coming out of the final corner. Over the line we come to start lap 3 of the race. You can see there Tinus in the house has got a bit of closing speed here. Is he going to look to the inside to try and send one here on Max Power? You can see him getting closer and closer and closer. Here we go, looking down the inside, but Max Power is just going to turn in and cover him off for the time being. Max Power maintaining P1 here in this race ahead of Tinus and Luca. Robe in the background there ahead of Kangi, followed by Kev Sim. You got Snoopy ahead of G-Sanks, Fierce Mars and Lol 3000 completing the top 10. But this is turning into an exciting race out the front here between these top 3. Tinus has got a bit of a run here, looking to the inside. He's actually having to defend there from Luca. Luca really hot on Tinus's heels, but can't find a way through just at the moment. And he's just waiting and watching and hoping he can maybe force him into a mistake, but nothing doing at the moment then for him. But we've got Felix there in the comments saying hello mate, good to see you. Felix races with us on F1 on Friday nights and also commentated with us at Silverstone last week on Friday for the British Grand Prix. Did a bit of comments with myself and Max in the booth. Was excellent to get him in and hear his opinions on the league and on the guys who he's raced with many times as well. We've got Seb in the comments saying happy your microphone finally works. What did you change? Because this is miles better. It only took 3 years. Yeah, basically I've got a studio mic now, and at first it was really crackly because obviously I didn't know how to probably set it up, but I've got a muzzle for it now, and I've found a sweet spot where you can't hear it sort of like creaking and cracking, but also it's really clear and concise. So yeah, like you say, it took 3 years to finally get some decent audio, but this is actually how I sound in real life, because for those of you a lot of people who I knew in real life, I would tell to watch these streams and I'd say, look, I do these comms on sim racing and whatever, and they'd be like, that's not you, what are you talking about, it sounds nothing like you. So guys, if you ever thought you knew me, you didn't, because I didn't sound anything like I do in real life. Well, you did know me, but you know what I mean, like I just can sound completely different with my other headset than I do in real life. So yeah, you basically have the wrong idea of how I sound. But in the meantime, it looks like Lexi Mate and Commissar are both in the pits, so they're getting their damage fixed here at the end of lap 3. They seem to have had to limp round by quite a lot, so they've really had to lose a lot of time here in this race, and their races are pretty much done for this first race. But we've got the second race coming up after this, so still a chance for them to redeem themselves tonight. But we're still watching the battle out the front between Max Power and Tynus in the house. Tynus is absolutely hassling the back of Max Power, but Max Power managing to get the jump off of the line at the start, and since then has controlled things here at Kyalami. They've got Luca within a second of them right now, but you feel that if Tynus were to get ahead of Max Power, I think he'd be pulling away from Luca. But he still can't find a way through ahead of Max Power at the moment. Robe running in 4th place, isn't quite on the pace of the top 3 at the moment. You've got Kangi there in 5th ahead of Kev Sim, followed by Snoopy, who's dropped off the back of Kev Sim a little bit. Fierce Mars is still behind G Sanks at the moment, but he's getting closer and closer. Sharkazulu's lost out to low 3000 and Fednab. I didn't actually see where, if I'm perfectly honest with you, but that could have happened a while ago. I'm not sure, but he's a bit down the order compared to where he was. Tynus still attacking on the back of Max Power here as these two come into the final corner, and they're about to complete their 4th laps of this first race of the night. As you can see, Tynus getting a solid exit there out of the final corner in the slipstream here of Max Power, but Max Power seems to be just a little bit too far ahead here for Tynus to be able to go for a move here. They're coming down towards turn 1. Totally to OK says clean and close back, indeed it is. It's very, very tight racing here, and yeah, seems to be so far so good, I've got to say. We've got Jazzman in the comments saying go Tynus in the comments there with a turd emoji. He's not very happy with Tynus being currently sat in P2. He'll be disappointed. He'll be expecting Tynus to take the W tonight in his absence, but Tynus is almost underneath the bumper here of Max Power, and we have lost a driver here from the race. What a shame there. We have lost Arlampa. So Arlampa out of tonight's action. Hopefully he can get back in for the second race. But that is a huge shame there to lose him in this first race of the night. Fingers crossed he can get himself back in for the second one. But still currently Max Power out the front by just under 10th of a second here ahead of Tynus in the house, as these guys have gapped Luca by a little bit. They're now over a second ahead of him here as they continue to dice it out, but Tynus has just dropped off of them a little bit. Oh no, he hasn't actually, no, that's a lie. In fact, he's trying to get a cut back there. He just couldn't get it there. He just had to get out of it a little bit, and that cost him a bit of time. And Max Power still maintaining the lead for the time being as they come through the dip. There's Luca, there's Robe, Kangi there in the background coming through your shot. You've got Kessim there just behind him. Then you've got Snoopy, who's a couple of seconds clear of G Sanks, with Fierce Mars, who's now just over a second behind him. And then you've got Lowell 3000 there running in P10. Sharkazulu has got ahead of Fednad. Fednad's wide there onto the grass. That's going to give Caprigia the position. So Caprigia moves through up into 12th place. Sharkazulu's ahead of Lowell 3000 as well, as Lowell 3000 has dropped back into the clutches here of Caprigia a little bit. So Caprigia and Fednad there running just behind Lowell 3000 at the moment. But yeah, a few drivers dropping it and making little mistakes here in this race. We got Andrew in the comments saying Kangi doing well so far. Go on, lad. He says Kangi currently running in P5 at the moment. He's doing a very, very solid job right now in his first race, actually in a top tier, because we haven't seen him I haven't seen him racing a top tier. He's racing tier 2 for the GT3 Championship on a Sunday, but this is his first race. Obviously, there's only one tier for the Sprint League, so it is going to be a tier 1, but you know what I mean. Competing against the best of the best, his first time, and currently doing a really good job so far. So yeah, absolutely, Andrew, good to see. Tynus is a magnet on that bumper. He really is totally 0k, but he still can't find a way through, and the leaders, I'll tell you what, they're coming up on some traffic here. They'll be hoping they don't get too held up. That would be, I think it's who is it? It's can't work out who it is, if I'm perfectly honest with you. I'm going to jump back on them. We'll find out in a minute once they come around to that traffic, but yeah, I wasn't actually completely sure, if I'm honest. It's a bit confusing. Yeah. Oh well. But here we go. We've got Tynus still attacking on the back of Max Power at the moment. As yeah, they're coming out of the last corner here, about to complete lap 6 of the race, so they've managed to gap Luca a little bit, just over a second back. We got Raki in the comments there saying good evening all. Good evening, Raki, good to see you, mate. Welcome along to the channel. Yeah, good to see you. Just trying to read my Discord messages here as well, but yeah, Raki races with us sometimes on the Sunday night GT3s, but can't race regularly at the moment, so he's a reserve for the GT3s on a Sunday. Always a big fan at Motive, always chimes in and always says hello to us, so always excited to, always good to see Raki here in the comments. But Tynus here still right on the back of Max Power. Lucas has dropped off a little bit over the course of this lap so far. Fierce Mars is on the back of G-Sanks. You can see only 0.4 of a second currently separating those two. I'm trying to work out who this back marker is in the foreground. Is it Leximate? It must be. It is Leximate, yeah, so that is Leximate just in front of these guys. They're going to be coming around to lap him in a moment. Raki says a bit late, tier 1 or 2. Oh, this is only 1 tier for the Sprint League, yeah. So yeah, this is the be all end all for this one here tonight. But yeah, currently some great racing here tonight in this first race of the night. You've got Tynus here almost underneath Max Power, looking to the inside, done a little feint, but just a little bit too far back right now. Let's go to the battle here between G-Sanks and Fierce Mars, because it looks as though Fierce Mars has actually got ahead of G-Sanks, so those two are swapped positions there. You can see Fierce Mars now up into 8th place, so he's made that move somewhere, not sure where, but he's now into that position. He's done a really good job here in this race to get himself up into 8th place, and he's only 15 seconds off of the lead, so it's not been a bad debut here for Fierce Mars at all. As we go back to the leaders here, you can see there's Max Power, there's Tynus, there's Luca. Robe not too far off the leaders as well. He's only he's under 3 seconds off of the lead here. So Robe doing a very good job in his first appearance, actually racing in a top level league here at Motive, racing against the best of the best. Max Power, Tynus and Luca, all very competitive drivers in tier 1 for the GT3 Championship on a Sunday. So Robe keeping up with them and really impressing here tonight in the sprint league. We've got Matt Raki in the comments there doing some drumming and watching Motive. Top notch night indeed. Couldn't think of a better way to spend your Wednesday night. But yeah, currently this is an exciting little battle going on at the front. Tynus still putting Max Power under pressure, but can't seem to force him into a mistake at the moment. It's just Max Power is just holding firm. He's not really being phased at all at this stage. It's been a very patient drive here from him. Arlampa there in the Discord saying, sorry guys, my controller disconnected twice. T300, I'll try to fix it. Yeah, but hopefully we can get you back in for the second race, mate, if you're able to get that sorted out. But that's a shame, obviously, to see that. George Silverin, we think, will be maybe jumping in for race 2 as well. I'm going to put on, because I haven't actually put a practice on in between sessions, but I'm going to do that just so that there's a little bit of a respite, people can take a break and sort, because the one-shot qualifying kind of means that there's no opportunity to sit down and relax after the race. So I'm going to put on a 15-minute practice in between sessions, just so that everyone can kind of get themselves back together again. So I'll probably restart the server in between sessions. But currently Max Power and Tynus here, half a second between these two at the moment as they're coming to that long right-hander, which really kills the left rear tyres. Robe's closed up onto the back of Luca here as well, so this is the battle for the podium spots. These two have dropped off for the 2 leaders, Max Power and Tynus, a little bit, but looking definitely like it's going to be an exciting fight between these two for the podium places. Robe really wide onto the grass there, but holding it firm at the moment, holding it together. And currently these two at the front, Max Power and Tynus, still going at it at the moment. Noise says totally 0k in the comments there, agreeing with Raki's sentiments over the perfect night of drumming and watching Motive. But Tynus still right on the back of Max Power here as we come down the dip and into the final sector of the lap. Coming towards the end of lap 9, we're just over halfway through the race in terms of time. It's obviously a 30-minute race. Tynus has just been knocking on the door of the race lead, but hasn't been able to find a way through. Always wide onto the grass there. Don't want to be doing that too much, Tynus, as we come through the final corner. But it's currently as you were between these two as we're coming over to start lap 10 of the race. So yeah, hopefully we'll have our Lamper and Jill Silvering back in the session. As it looks as though have we had a position change here? I'm not sure. Don't think so. But Lucas still ahead of Robe. Still this battle going on between the 2 leaders, Max Power and Tynus in the house, and it's been ever so close between these two. It was obviously Tynus who put it on pole position in the qualifying session, the one-shot qualifying session, which did an absolutely superb job there. But he's obviously got jumped by Max Power into turn 1, managed to get a better jump off of the line, and since then it's been Max Power who's managed to hold on to this lead. These guys continuing to gap Luca and Robe bit by bit here out the front. But Max Power currently in control of things here tonight at Kyalami. Lucas just extended his gap to Robe a little bit. It's now over a second between those two, so Luca looking a bit more comfortable there in that third spot. Kangi running 4 seconds behind him. Kev Sim a further 3 seconds back. Snoopy continuing to gap G-Sanks and Fierce Mars at the moment. Fierce Mars has lost out to G-Sanks, so they've swapped over positions again. I think Fierce Mars must have made a mistake because he's a second and a half adrift of G-Sanks at the moment. Capriga in other news is closing up onto the back of Lol 3000. You can see those two just, well, that looks like it's just under a second now. It was just over a second, and in fact Lol 3000 I think is pulling over to the side. He's letting Capriga through, so has he got a bit of damage there, or is he just accepting that that's not really a fight that he wants to draw himself into? Nonetheless, Capriga they're moving well out of the way, and Lol 3000 moving well out of the way, and Capriga up into some clean air. Back to the leaders as we're coming over, or as we're coming through the first sector into the middle sector. Here we go. Don't know any of the corner names around Kyalami. Really don't know anything about the track, if I'm perfectly honest. It's a great track to drive. I don't know anything about it. It's not in F1. The only tracks that I know everything about, that I know all the corner names are the F1 tracks. If it's not an F1 track, I have no idea of any of the technicalities or logistics of the track. I just know the layout basically, and that's pretty much it. I should really do a bit more research into the corner names and just other little bits about the tracks. You know, it would provide better. It would provide much better background. Our Lamper there saying, had a steering wheel disconnection. Hope everything is okay in race 2. Fingers crossed, mate. Hope it'd be good to see you finish the race and finish in a good position. Graki saying in the comments, maybe I'm able to join race 2. Yes, jump in, Raki, definitely. The password is actually in one of the channels. If you scroll down to the bottom of the Discord server, you should see a channel called PS5 Sprint Check-In. The password is in there, so if you check that out, you will be able to get in for race 2, which should be starting in, well, it'll be about 15 minutes now, because we've got 11 minutes of the race left. So we'll be obviously having a bit of a break. I think it's about a 5-minute break or something scheduled. as Tynus looking to the inside here of Max Power into turn 1, but for the time being just isn't quite close enough, and has to wait and bide his time here. But I reckon we should have. We started this first race with 16 drivers. I think we should have 18 for the second race, as long as everyone stays. And we should have Raki, Arlampa, and Jill Silverine joining us for the second race. So we'll have a more sort of packed out grid. And obviously, if anybody watching this is a racer on the PS5, if you're a clean racer with an SA rating of 60 or higher, then definitely come along to www.motiveracing.com and join the leagues here on a Wednesday. We've also got Sunday GT3 Championship as well. There's lots to get involved with. So yeah, if you do fancy it, definitely come along and get involved in the action. Also got leagues on project cars too, Clio Cup on Tuesdays and touring cars on Thursdays, and we also run on F1 on Friday nights as well. But we're currently watching the top two here, Max Power and Tynus, coming down into the dip again. And Tynus going to send one here. He's once again looking, but just a little bit too far away. He's been biding his time here as Tynus. He hasn't been too intent on sending one up the inside. He's been very content to just sit and wait for his opportunities here. But I'm sure he's going to be feeling a little bit impatient at this point. Probably just thinking, well, you know, if I don't go for it now, is the chance going to end up passing me by? Andy, I'm coming in, says Totally Zero K. Yes! We should have 19 drivers on the grid then. That'll be great. 11 watching, let's get 11 likes, saying indeed. Raki, I could not agree more, mate. Come on guys, just smash that like button if you're enjoying tonight's stream, as we're watching a battle still going on here between Max Power and Tynus. Totally Zero K's sounds like his power's back on after having a power cut earlier on due to a thunderstorm, I'm led to believe. But here we are, 0.4 of a second between these two. Max Power and Tynus, they've been battling over the lead since the beginning. Actually, Luca has started to gain on them a little bit, whilst they're kind of like, probably, I think Max Power's probably been a bit compromised. His pace is probably a bit compromised because he's got that pressure from Tynus, so he's having to think more about defending his lines than he is about maximising his pace. And because of that, it is allowing Luca to just reel the gap down a little bit. It was 2.5 seconds, it's now 2.2. So Luca's gained a few tenths of a second on the previous lap. But currently Max Power and Tynus still have got a solid enough margin back to Luca at the moment to be not too worried at this stage. As once again they come down the hill into that little dip. Tynus, this is the part of the track where he gets the closest to Max Power, but this time a little bit further away than he has been on previous laps, and in absolutely no position whatsoever to go for a move there. Max Power didn't seem too confident there, seemed to be a little bit shaky as they came onto the brakes through that section. Angelo in the comments says smashed. Smashed? What do you mean smashed? Oh, smash the like button, yes. Yes, keep it up. Keep them coming, guys. Keep them coming. Absolutely loving it. But here we are, Max Power and Tynus coming over the line here to start lap 14 of the race. Tynus getting closer and closer to the back of Max Power here. Is he going to look to try and send one into turn 1? No, not at the moment. Just waiting and watching. And yeah, as I said before, biding his time, but time is potentially running out here in this first race of the night. These guys still 2 seconds clear of Luca running in 3rd place. Rebe there in 4th place, well clear of Kangi. But yeah, this one here between Max Power and Tynus in the house, looking to probably go down to the final couple of laps, I would imagine. But yeah, here they come here through the middle part of the lap here at Kyalami. Lap 14 here of the first race of the night for the Sprint League here on a Wednesday night here on the PS5. Currently Tynus is still putting the pressure here on Max Power, but hasn't been able to find a way through. Max Power has been defending absolutely brilliantly, has not been making any mistakes, has been pretty much as clean as a whistle here during this race. Obviously managed to get the jump. Tynus was on pole position in the qualifying session, the one-shot qualifying session. He managed to pull out a lap which was 0.4 quicker than Max Power, but that pace differential in this first race has not really been showing itself to any effect. And Max Power currently still in a race winning position at the moment as the laps are winding down here in this first race. Luca continuing to chip away bit by bit to the leaders. He's well within He's only 2 seconds behind Tynus now. I mean, he's gaining a couple of tenths a lap, but if he continues on that momentum, he could be able to put these guys under a bit of pressure by the time we get to the end of the race. 0.3 of a second separating Max Power and Tynus as they came over the line, as they just extended the gap to Luca a little bit coming to the final sector there. But on the whole, Luca's definitely bringing the gap down to them, as we've got GGJ in the comments saying hello there. Hello GGJ, welcome along, our championship leader in the F1 League there on a Friday night, checking out the stream. Great to see you chiming in there, mate. Yeah, drives in the Red Bull on a Friday night for the F1 League here at Motive, and always tunes into the streams as well, watches a lot of the races, and yeah, one of the big fans here at Motive alongside Racky's Totally Zero K, and there's a few others as well. Robe is one of them as well, who regularly tunes in and keeps us company on the streams, and you guys are massively appreciated. But currently we've got Max Power and Tynus here still out the front, only half a second between these two right now. Go back to the leaders here. Max Power and Tynus coming through the final corner. You've got Luca there running in third place, about 2 seconds off of the lead at this point. There's Robe, he's about 5 seconds behind the leader Max Power. Kangi there running in P5. Kev Sim a little way back there in 6th place at the moment. A bit late to the party, I see, says GGJ. You are a little bit, but well, to be fair, there is another race after this, so the night's just getting started at the moment. We got this, obviously, there's two 30-minute sprint races, no sprint or feature. It's literally just both of them are sprint races, no pit stops or anything like that. But yeah, we're not even halfway through the night yet, so I wouldn't say you're late to the party. No, definitely not. Is there an update, says Raki? I don't believe so. There hasn't been an update now for, I think, a good few months. So I think as long as you played the game in the last couple of weeks, I think you should be alright. I can't remember when the last one was. I think it might have been more recently than a few months. It might have been a few weeks ago, but I don't think it's a very recent one. I think you should be alright. But you might want to get on now just in case anyway. But, Tynus closer to the back of Max Power here. Did he have to get out of it a little bit there, and would that have compromised his run down the hill? He seems to be closer than he's ever been at this point. Is he going to look to try and send one here? He's surely going to think about it, and Tynus in house is going to go for the move here. Max Power goes late on the race, goes a little bit deep into the corner, and he's going to go wide there onto the curb, and Tynus in house is up the inside. Who's going to be backing out of this one? Max Power just squeezes through. Tynus in house had him under real pressure there, but Max Power just about surviving. That was very, very tight there between the two of them, but Max Power somehow holding on as we're coming out of the last corner here, about to complete lap 16 of the race, and Tynus in the house must have had Max Power with a bit of a brown pants moment there. Luca is now almost within a second of the lead here, so with those two battling, it's giving Luca a bit of a lifeline here in this race, but Max Power still has the lead at the moment here as we're on to lap 17 of the first race of the night here for the GT3 Sprint League at Motive here on the PS5. Max Power's led the entire race since the beginning, since he got the jump on Tynus off of the line. So it would be really, really heartbreaking for him now if he were to lose this one. He's pretty much had this one. But Tynus in house is giving it absolutely everything, and it's going to be throwing the kitchen sink at him in the final couple of laps of this race. You can be absolutely certain of that. We're going to have one more lap after this, so we've got a lap and a half left to go for this first race. We got GGJ saying 4GB should done pretty fast. Who's that? What? But yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. But Max Power. Oh no! Max Power and Tynus have come together! And did Max Power lose it before Tynus made contact with him? Tynus moves straight up into the lead of the race. He's got Luca right on the back of him here. But what happened there? I was looking down, and all of a sudden, Max Power had spun round. I think he might have already been losing it before the contact was made, in which case Titus in the house would be at no fault for that collision. But Max Power here down to 4th place. That promotes Robe up onto the podium, and Luca right on the back of Titus here as we're coming through the final corner, as we're about to start the final lap of the race. But Raki there said, oh right, oh he's saying 4 gigabytes should be done pretty fast. Yeah, definitely. I think Raki should be able to get on. Well, 4 gigabytes. I don't know whether it's going to be. Yeah. Totally Zero Cases drama. Absolutely. 3 gigabytes to go and installation. Right. Okay. Hopefully we'll see you on in a moment then, Raki. That will probably take about 4 minutes, 3 or 4 minutes. Should be alright. I can't remember what the practice is set to, but Titus in the house is still in the front, out the front, leading this race. Luca trying to put him under a bit of pressure here. Obviously, Max Power had that spin, which promoted Titus up into the lead. I didn't see what happened. I was kind of looking down at my phone, reading the comments, and then all of a sudden, I saw Max Power being spun round by Titus, but I don't know if he'd already lost the car before the contact happened. If he had already started losing it before the contact, then that would have meant that it wouldn't be Titus's fault. It would just be a racing incident. But if he hadn't lost it until the contact, Titus in the house could be getting a penalty for that one. But we'll have to wait and see. We're not going to call any, not going to draw any conclusions just yet. But here we come into the dip for the final time here in race 1. Titus in the house has just got a few corners to go. He's actually pulled a bit of a gap to Luca over the course of the last lap here, so he should be able to bring this home with a reasonable gap. As here we come, Titus in the house through the penultimate corner, a bit wide onto the grass, but keeping it together. Here we come into the final corner at Kyalami, and Titus in the house is going to take the first win of the season here for the GT3 Sprint League here on a Wednesday night. Over the line he comes, a race which he was running in second in for most of it, but managing to get Max Power with Max Power's spin. Luca there second. Robe completed the podium. A great debut in a top level division here at Motive for Robe, our tier 2 champion for the GT3 championship last season on a Sunday. Max Power comes over to take 4th place after a mistake in the penultimate lap, lost him the lead which he had since the beginning. Kev Sim comes over in P5 ahead of Kangi, who takes 6th place. Snoopy over in 7th place, a little way clear of Zanks, who comes over in 8th. Sharka Zulu here is going to finish this one in 9th place in the end, as here he comes over the line. He's a little way clear of Capriga, who didn't have the race at all tonight in this first race. He'll be hoping for better in the second one for sure. It's a quick driver, is Capriga. We've seen that in tier 2 of the GT3s last season, up there challenging for podiums in most of the races. Leximate's finished a lap down in 13th place. Lol 3000 out of the final corner is going to take home 11th place. Karmasar's finished the race in the pits, 5 laps down. He'll score points for his troubles. He's completed enough for the race. Lol 3000 there comes over in 11th. Fednad will come over in 12th. Fierce Mars retired a little way out, so that is that then. Fednad will be the last driver to finish the race. So that is that then for the first race of the night. Now I can't remember how long the practice is. I'm just going to look at G Portal. Oh, I can't, because I can't access the... Oh no, wait, we're using the USA server. Yeah, tonight we're using an American server because we can't get into... We can't use our EU servers because the EU side of G Portal is currently down at the moment. So we have no way of accessing our EU servers. I'm just going to check and see whether we've got access now, but I doubt that they've come up. There's no point now anyway. We're all in this server, so there's no point switching. But oh, it is at... Oh no, hold on. Yeah, it is available now. Oh well, it's too... We're already in here. There's no point. It's more trouble than it's worth having to get everybody to switch servers, so we're just going to have to stick in this one. The ping's not as good in this one, to be fair. It's the best part of 100, I think, the ping in this server. Obviously the EU one, it's like about 20, which is really good. You know, it's a very, very quick connection. Having said that, 100 ping's not too bad. It's only once it gets to more than 200, that's when it becomes a problem. 100, it's not too noticeable. I mean, it's a tenth of a second, basically, so yeah, it's not much. But here we go then. We've got 18 of us in a session. Hopefully we'll get Raki in. So we should have 19 drivers on the grid for race 2 here tonight. And that'll be absolutely awesome if we can do that. But yeah, I'm just going to have a look and see how long the practice is. I don't think it's too long, but I think I might have put it on a fair bit. just to give everybody a chance to relax and kind of get their bearings together after that. There we go, 10-minute practice. So it gives us plenty of time to get ready. So yeah, guys, I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to grab a drink and get my throat soothed up a little bit, and then we should be ready to go for race 2. Well, obviously I'll be doing the comms on the qualifying. I'll probably jump on the comms at the end of the practice, but yeah, just so you guys don't think I've deserted you, I'm just going to get a drink, and we'll be back on in a moment.
Yesterday we had a free practice session.
Welcome back, everybody. We're here for the second qualifying session tonight for the GT3 Sprint League Aeromotive on the PS5. We've got 17 of us currently in the session here for this second race. I think a couple of guys have dropped out. I'm not sure who we've lost, but we're 2 down on what we should be. I think we should have 19 in the session, but we've got 17 anyway. So we have lost a couple of guys from race 1. I think it might be our Lamper, might be one of them, because I know that he's been having wheel troubles, and we've lost one other driver as well. So, but hey, we've got 17 drivers here for this second race of the night, and what a race we had in the first race. And is it going to be a similar story here in this second one? Are we going to be seeing the same drivers up the top, at the sharp end? Obviously, with this one-shot qualifying session, there's a lot of jeopardy involved, as you've really got to be on it for that one opportunity. It's only a 3-minute session. There's no way you're going to get around and get 2 laps in. It's literally just one opportunity on cold tyres to see what you can do. We saw Tinus in the house taking pole in the first race. Are we going to be seeing him able to do the same thing here in this second one? Or are we going to be seeing somebody upsetting Tinus's form? Obviously, he took the win. Max Power is actually the driver who isn't here. I just realised Max Power is the one who's dropped out for the second race, which is a bit strange. And it looks like we've actually got, we're back to 18 drivers now, so our Lamper has jumped back in. But yeah, Max Power is the driver who we haven't got for the second race. Not sure if he realises it's 2 races. To be fair, Max Power was a reserve tonight anyway, so I suppose it's fair enough. If he doesn't want to race in both races, it's alright. But Luca nonetheless has done the provisional pole time there, 42.0. Kev Sim over in second, Totally Zero K goes third. But we're still waiting on everybody to come around at the moment. Tinus, no surprise there, goes into P1. He's just under half a second clear of Luca at the top of the leaderboard. Lowell 3000 goes into P6. Snoopy there moves up into 6th ahead of Lowell 3000, pushes him down a position there. But what are we going to see from the rest of them? Luca into P2. Max Power not here for this second race. So obviously not able to turn the tables here on Tinus and get pole position in this second race, or for the second race. Raki's gone into 13th place on his one attempt, obviously racing in his first race on the PS5 for quite a while, as he's been on the PC recently. Robe's gone into 3rd place, so lovely luck there from Robe within half a second of the provisional of the now the pole time, not the provisional pole time there from Tinus in the house. But that is that then, ladies and gentlemen, for this one. Max Power and Fednad. Fednad was the other one who dropped out, so he was going to join but then didn't, by the looks of it. Oh no, Fednad is in there. Sorry, so sorry. It's Max Power is the only one who's not, I believe. Yeah. So yeah, Max Power's the only one who's dropped out. where everybody else is here. So there are your 18 drivers then. Tinus in the house will start this second race from pole position. It will be a manual formation lap. There's none of that short formation lap that we used to run. We're doing a full formation lap here nowadays. It looks a bit more professional, gives us a bit more chance to kind of roll it in and get ready for the race. My phone's actually charging because it ran out of battery because it was sat there overheating with the stream on, and basically didn't realise that it was running out of battery. So yeah, pretty much it's turned off, so I'm using the PC to check to see. Let's have a look. Full for Sundays now too, says Andrew. Not quite. Well, we're close to being full on Sundays. We need to actually promote a few drivers from tier 2 into tier 1, extra drivers. Obviously the top 6 from last season went up already, but we actually do need to promote a few more drivers from tier 2 because a couple of the guys in tier 1 haven't renewed their contracts for this season, which means that there are some spaces in tier 1. So yeah, we're going to move up a few more drivers, maybe the top 4 or 5 from tier 2, and then obviously we need to fill up tier 2 with the missing drivers who we're going to be moving up to tier 1. We've got I'd say about 7 or 8 seats, I think, left in the GT3 Championship on a Sunday. So if anybody is looking to get involved in that, then definitely go to www.motiveracing.com. If you're already on the Discord, we do still have spaces for our Sunday Championship, which is the main event of the week. This is kind of like this is the exciting, action-packed type of racing, the sprint race with no pit stops, just straight out, flat out racing. But yeah, the Sunday one is the staple. It's the highlight of the week. I think it's the biggest championship. It's the one where we have, between 40 and 50 drivers competing every week. We get so many people watching as well. Sunday night, perfect time to tune in and for people to put into practice and really take it seriously. Obviously Wednesday, you don't get as much practice time. It's not really as much of an opportunity to get yourself prepared for it. So this is kind of like a bit of an arrive and drive sort of night. Sunday's like the creme de la creme. But nonetheless, the racing we've seen tonight has been really clean, really exciting, and for a sort of like a midweek league, it's been really great so far. I've really enjoyed tonight. Hopefully we get similar action here for this second race, because the first race I need to go by, it's going to be a cracker. I don't know why I just did a different accent there. I don't really know what's going on, but that's just a bit of a random little moment there. But yeah, we've got Robert Rolonsky there. Robert saying it's too cold in South Africa right now. We're shivering the entire race. Yeah, it is to be fair, technically it's the same. It's very similar climate. Well, March and September, similar climate, isn't it? But technically it's their equivalent of September. That's what I'm trying to say. In South Africa right now, it's their equivalent of September, so it's like late summer, early autumn, isn't it, at the moment in South Africa? I would imagine. Adash there saying, is BMW an all-rounder? Raki there says to him, should be indeed. Bentley's also a stable car. Okay guys, says Raki, my goal is to race clean, but I've been offered the ACC PS5 for quite a bit. So Raki's basically what he's trying to say there is, please do not expect me to be fighting for wins. Please do not expect me to be fighting for podiums. If I can sneak a top 10, I will be a happy man. But it'd be interesting to see where he can get to from P15, because Raki's always a driver who goes better in the races than what he does in qualifying. Qualifying has never been Raki's strong suit. I will say this, I'm being honest, and that's not even an insult at all, because actually what I'm trying to say is that in the races, he really does come on strong. So yeah, definitely we've got to be watching out for Raki from P15. Certainly is not going to be out of a top 10 spot, possibly even, and it sounds mad, but I wouldn't even rule him out of a top 5. I'd say it's unlikely, but you never know with Raki. You really don't. He can sometimes just find a load of pace in the race that he didn't have in quali. So yeah, we're going to be watching him with keen interest, let's say that. GJ there saying good luck Raki there in the comments, and totally 0k of course. GGJ obviously races with us on the F1. He raced with Raki before and knows him quite well, because those two did used to sit in a party chat together, along with a few of the other guys in the F1 league. We've also got Andrew there saying Laddie was missing, I think, mate. Laddie was winning, he was missing, yeah, Max Power, yeah, the one who was the long-time leader in the first race. Totally 0k says, this is what happens when I don't practice. Well, to be fair, it's not bad. P9, it's not a bad position at all. Totally 0k. GJ says, is the rule from the Sprint Championship gone now from when I was racing? The one where they said the top 3 can't qualify. Yeah, that rule's gone now. We've instead, it's a one-shot qualifying, so there's a bit more jeopardy. You know, it's not going to be always the same. Andrew, they're saying, you already moved one extra, and I was meaning full formation lap. And no offence taken, says Raki. He's texting while driving. Raki, stop it. But here we are then, coming up towards the line. Or is it Jelma commenting for him? But here we come anyway, up towards the line. We're about to go racing here for race 2 of the night here at Motive. And it's green, green, green as we're coming down towards turn 1. Tynus gets a good bite this time. Luca here has got Sharka Zulu attacking on the back of him. Sharka Zulu absolutely flew off of the line there. As Luca's coming under pressure. Oh, sorry, Robe's coming under some pressure here, but Luca there keeping on to P2. Sharka Zulu running outside. Robe now looking back to the inside of Sharka Zulu. He'll have the outside here for turn 2, but Sharka Zulu there getting into 3rd place ahead of Robe, so nicely done there from him. As Kangi's made a mistake there, he's wide onto the grass and gets a tap out wide there from Kev Sim, who's barged his way through there. So Kev Sim moving through a position, but Kangi not having the best of starts here on his first lap, has been overtaken by quite a few cars here at the beginning of this race, but it's Tynus leading right now, and he's ahead of Luca there, who's in 2nd place. Sharka Zulu there in 3rd, ahead of Robe. Jill Silver in there in P5. As you can see there, Totals Are Okay making a move up the inside of Kev Sim there, moves himself through up into 7th place. So Totals Are Okay putting a nice manoeuvre there as Caprigia here trying to defend from Kangi, who's looking around the outside at the moment. You got Fierce Mars right on the back of these guys as well, with Snoopy there in 12th ahead of Lol 3000, who's wide onto the grass, and that's going to allow Arlampa and G-Sank up a position each there. So Lol 3000 dropping down to P15, Lexi Mate, Fednad and Raki running at the back of the pack right now in P18 in this race. Oh, and there's a bit of contact there between Raki and the 572 car of Fednad. As we can see, they're all trying to file through. Oh, and there's contact there. Contact. Raki into the barriers there. Got tagged around, I think, by Fednad. And he's going to be losing out to these guys by quite a lot here. So Raki there has had a nightmare of a first lap on. He's returned to the PS5. We go back to the battle for the lead here because Tynus and Luca are currently locked horns here as we're coming to the final corner. 0.3 of a second separating these two as we're about to complete the first lap of the race. You've got Sharka Zulu there running in 3rd place ahead of Robe, followed by Jill Silver in the top 5. But what a shame there, Raki, to have that happen to him. GGJ says, Jelma here in the comments. How's Jelma commenting on GGJ's account? I'm a bit confused. JR there saying, damn it, Raki, no! What a gutting situation there to see. Oh, it's in the background there. Totals Are Okay, sorry. He used to have the number 7 in the GT3 Championship on a Sunday. Fierce Mars it was in the number 7 car. The Audi there going off, and I think he might have got a bit of a tap there from Snoopy. I'm not quite sure. Maybe those two have come together, and that's why both of those two have dropped down the order by quite a bit here. So a bit of carnage here, well not carnage, but a bit, you know, through a few thrills and spills, let's say, in the opening few laps of this race, as we've got Karmasar here, who's currently going side by side here with, to be honest, I'm not sure. Jill Silverin. Jill Silverin, and now this is very confusing for me right now because Jill Silverin, it says on the timing screen, is in the number 40, but he's actually in the number 41. Which is really confusing me right here because I was looking for number 41 thinking, where's number 41? And it's not there. So obviously he's behind Karmasar now. Karmasar's up into 5th place. Totally Okay is on the back of him. You've got Kev Sim there who's got a trade of cars. You've got Capriga in the thick of it as well as Kangi and Arlampa as well. But what's happened here actually? Kangi's dropped behind a few of these guys here. So he's behind Arlampa there in 11th place now as we've got somebody looking down the inside. Arlampa trying to make the move here on Kev Sim, and he's going to get that one done. There is Arlampa. Beautiful move there. Moves himself through up into 9th place, and he's really making good progress here in this second race of the night after starting near the back of the pack, obviously with wheel issues. But yeah, he's really seamlessly made his way through so far as Kangi there losing. Kangi just behind Kev Sim right now. JR there in the comments saying, I taught Jazzman everything he knows, true story. Yeah. I think that Jazzman had been racing in the AOR leagues for quite a while before you joined them, JR. If I seem to remember, I think I remember you joining the AOR leagues when we used to race in Project Cars 2 lobbies, and I think the Jazzman was already the coordinator back then, so I have a feeling he might be telling a few porcupines there. But currently we got Tynus still out the front. He's got 0.2 of a second of a gap here over Luca right now. Sharka Zulu's still got Robo on the back of him here as the top 4 have really broken away from everybody else. Karmasar's lost it. Oh, he's been into the wall there. He'd have damage on the front as well. Puts the brakes on as the other guys come past him. Very conscientious there, but he's losing a heap of positions here, and he's going to be down in the mid pack at best here, potentially at the back of the pack as he gets it going. He finds a space to get himself back going again, but he has dropped down. It's a 15th place here in this race, so that's gone horribly wrong there. Karmasar losing 10 places here in this race, as I think I just saw him go off again there as we were flicking off of him. But Tyneson, Lucas still out the front. Sharkazulu and Robe still battling out over the podium place at the moment. Karmasar there, it looks to be going nowhere fast, and I think he might have called it a day there, might have thrown in the towel, as our Lampa's now ahead of Kevsim. And yeah, you see Karmasar dropping down the leaderboard there. He's now out of the session, so he's left the race here. What a shame there for Karmasar in this second race of the night. JR there in the comments saying it might be the other way around, who knows. Yeah, that sounds more like it. Although saying that, I don't think that you learned everything from Jazzman. I know that you're quite a self-taught sim racer. I remember back in the day, way back in the day, I'm talking maybe 4 or 5 years ago, we used to play Project Cars 2, and we used to do Monza GT3 lobbies just every day. And I remember JR started out on the controller and was really quick on the controller, and we were always like, yeah, you should definitely need to get a wheel, you know, take this thing seriously. And so he did. He got a wheel, joined the AR leagues, and the rest is history. Man's now a pro ACC PC racer, while your boy's still sat here on the PS5, but loving every minute of it, I must say, on the comms. But third and fourth places, Charkazulu and Rebe still battling here. You've got Capriga, who's on the back of Jill Silver, and you've got Arlampa right there with Kevsim as well. This train of 4 cars here battling out over 5th place at the moment. As we can see there, that Arlampa looking to the outside here of Capriga covering the inside line off for the time being. No gaps currently forming here for him to make that move. Tony's okay into the pits to fix damage, so he's going to be coming out by the back of the pack by the time he comes out of the pits. That's not gone to plan at all there for him. But JR in the comments saying, come on Tynus, Tony's okay, 1-2 places, good start from a fellow F1 driver, says GGJ. Yeah, that one's aged well. Not GGJ saying Jazzman is the ACC go. Yeah, but without Jazzman here, Tynus in house and Luca are putting on a good show. Luca's keeping to the back and keeping Tynus honest here in this race. Jill Silver is still on the back of Arlampa. You've got Caprigia very close on the back of these guys as well. Oh, and there's contact there. Jill Silvering goes into the back of Arlampa. Arlampa pushed wide, but that's going to give Kevsim the place. Oh no, and contact between Kevsim and Arlampa, and Arlampa gets pushed onto the gravel there. Kevsim facing the wrong way, and that's given who's that that's come through? Caprigi has come through. Kangi's also come through ahead of them. So absolute chaos there. G-Sanks now on the fringes of this battle, but Caprigia well clear of them now in 5th place. Jill Silver and then Arlampa there having a total nightmare. Arlampa just behind G-Sanks there as they come into turn 1, looking back down the inside, trying to get back ahead of him. But what a nightmare there for Arlampa and for Jill Silver. And Jill Silver down in 10th place, so he's had an absolute mare there. In the meantime, Tynus is 2.5 seconds clear of Luca here, so I don't know what happened to Luca, but he's made a mistake somewhere. Motive, where legends are born and made, says JR Sim Racing. Indeed. Motive really starts some good things then. I'm not the only one, he says. It all started off actually, it started off, the first league that we had was Rubbings Racing. JR will remember we made a league called Rubbings Racing. Well, I founded the community, and then JR made the Discord, and then it got robbed off of us by some other dudes. But anyway, enough said about that, the better. Motive was where I think the story properly begins. That's where I'd like to think it started, but it didn't actually start there. But for a lot of the guys who race here, that they wouldn't know about Rubbings Racing, so I guess for most people, it's probably, I mean, it was only on Project Cars 2 Rubbings Racing. It was ACC was a purely a Motive sort of venture. But in the meantime, we've got Arlampa on the back of G-Sanks here as we're coming down through the dip and in towards the final sector. G-Sanks still ahead of Arlampa at the moment, as you see Arlampa just riding over the curbs a little bit there. Lexi Mate's on the back of Jill Silver in as these guys coming through into the penultimate corner. But Lexi Mate there getting it all wrong, and he's into the wall. He's lost it there. He's had an absolute horror show. And Snoopy's going to move through. Fierce Mars as well. Fednad and Kevsim moving up a position each, so he's lost out a load of places there as Lexi Mate's down to 14th place here in this race. That's absolutely gutting there for him. In the meantime, it's Tynus leading ahead of Luca by just under 3 seconds at the moment. There's Sharkazuri running in 3rd ahead of Robe. Capriga there in P5. He's just under 3 seconds clear of Kangi. You got G-Sanks who's lost out to Arlampa here. And yeah, Olampa moves through up into 7th place. There's Jill Silverman in the background there, on the back of these guys trying to get involved in this action. But Tynus leading by 3 seconds right now. GTJ, I even got to know my girlfriend via Motive. Did you? Oh right, okay. Anyway, Luke is still running. Fair play. Yeah. Oh right. I mean, there's literally only one person that could be GTJ, and I think I know who you're talking about. Must have been. Anyway, Arlampa's still running in 7th place right now. He's got G Sanks on the back of him, Jill Silver in there as well. So these guys having a battle for 7th, 8th and 9th places. Fednad applying a bit of pressure here on the back of Fierce. Oh, in fact, hold on. No, Fierce Miles has dropped 2 places here. So in fact, he's lost out. So he did have Fednad on the back of him. He's now lost out to Fednad, Kevsim and Leximate. And that's a bit of a shame there for him. But Arlampa coming out at the final corner here, about to complete his 6th lap of the race. He's currently running just ahead of G Sanks and Jill Silverin right now. As here we come down the hill into turn 1. Jill Silverin too far back right now to do anything here. Andy dodging bullets, says says JL. Big love to you all. Oh, as we can see, Shakazuda getting it a bit wrong. Robe getting closer and closer. Jill Silver in there, sliding around a little bit in the background there. GGJ says Andy knows who I'm talking about. I do. There's no one else it could be. There's literally no one else it could be. There's only there's a few female racers, but only one of them's openly female, if that makes sense. Most of them are kind of like hiding. So yeah, there's only one person who's unless it's one of the secret ones. It could be one of the secret ones actually. I'm going to save myself here and say it could be one of the secret ones. So I don't actually know for sure who it could be, but yeah. Currently Tynus has got a gap of just under 4 seconds right now over Luca as he completes lap 7 of the race. This race settling down at the front here. Tynus definitely has got the pace over Luca at this point. Robe still applying the pressure on the back of Shakazulu. Shakazulu driving a great race here in this 2nd race of the night, getting himself into those podium positions. As Jill Silverin is still on the back of G Sanks here as these two are coming to the final corner. Kev Sim is on the back of Fednad here as they're coming over the line to start lap 8. Oh, it's Kev Sim there making a move on Fednad. He's made that move brilliantly there. Fednad's got big damage there on his car. I tell you what, that's been through the ringer. And he's now got to watch out because he's going to have Leximate attacking on him as well. But Leximate's too far back coming into this right-hander. But that is Kev Sim there up into 11th place nonetheless. Kangi getting closer to the back of Caprigia. Sharkazulu's just gapped Robe by just over a second. Or saying that though, it's less than a second. That is way less than a second. So that gap's come down through the middle part of the lap into the final sector they come. In the meantime, we've still got Kangi on the back of Caprigia here as these two coming down the hill into that little dip once again. GGJ says, I didn't even know there were more. Yeah, I better stop now. I better stop talking. I just need to let's move on. Change the subject. Right, Tynus here coming into turn 1 here for the 9th time. He's got just under 5 seconds right now over Luca. We've got Sharkazulu there running in 3rd. Robe is currently keeping Shakazulu very much on his toes right now. Caprigia's got Kangi all over the back of him. These guys are 12 seconds behind that battle for the podium places. There's Arlampa, who's got G Sanks and Jill Silverin looking closer and closer to the back of G Sanks as they're coming down to turn 1 once again. But he's just a little bit too far back at the moment to make anything happen. It's Ferdinand coming into the pits here at the end of lap 8, so he's feels that the damage is too much to drive with, so he's coming in and getting that repaired. That will move Raki up into 14th place. Totally 0k. Obviously came in for an early pit stop. He's running in P16, so he might get ahead of Ferdinand here as he's coming to the final sector. Low 3000 also got damage early on, and he's now being lapped by the leader Tynus. So Tynus there moving through. 17 of you currently watching the stream, guys. Absolutely great to see so many people watching. Smash the like button if you're enjoying what you're seeing right now. We currently got 13 likes on the stream. Can we get it to 20 likes? That would be amazing if we can get 20 likes on the stream. How awesome that would be. As GGJ saying, I hope to see the F1 drivers in higher places. Higher places as in esports. Well, we know that Jelmer's kind of knocking on the door of esports at the moment, isn't he? I think Aldrich is an esports racer as well, or certainly at that level. But yeah, I think Jelmer's got to be the pride and joy of Motive. 3-time champion, not racing with us this season, but I think he's coming back as a reserve in a couple of weeks. I think his season on a Friday's ended, so I think actually hopefully we're going to be seeing Jelmer back in for the F1 League at some point. So Jill Silver in wide there onto the grass. Tell you what, he had a horrible run there. Still ahead of Snoopy at the moment. Aldrich stopped racing for half a year. Yeah, I heard about that. I think he's left our server now as well, so he's obviously come back to Discord, but he's no longer in our server, which is a shame. We're still watching the battle here between Shark Zulu and Robe. 0.4 of a second separating those two at the moment. Snoopy here just about within a second of Jill Silver in. But Tynus in the house still leading the race by just over 5 seconds at the moment. Yeah, Jelmer is racing for esports team QRT. Yeah, that's why he's called QRT Joe. I'm 22 now, yeah. But yeah, we did actually see Jelmer racing on ACC a couple of times in the Tier 2s on a Sunday night for the GT3 Championship. Yeah, he sort of dipped his toes into it a bit, but didn't persevere because I think he ended up having to do racing on a Sunday night, so wasn't able to race with us. But he's a decent driver on ACC, to be fair. You know, considering he hadn't really had much experience on the game, and you do need experience. It's one of those games where experience counts for a huge amount. As we see Sharka Zulu and Robert putting a lap there on Lowell 3000. Obviously had his early woes in this race, which has cost him any chance of a strong point scoring position. But Sharka Zulu and Robert here coming through this next section of the track. Oh, Shark Zulu, they're getting it a bit wrong, but Robe too far back to do anything right now. Still waiting. Caprigi has just dropped out of the second zone there to Kangi. Jill Silver just over a second ahead of Snoopy. Looks like he's extended his gap a little bit through that first sector there as well. Fierce Mars closing up onto the back of Leximate, or did Leximate get ahead of him? I think Leximate might have actually made the move on him there to move himself into 12. I think that might have been what's happened there. Let's go back to the battle here between 3rd and 4th, because Robe's into P3, so he's done Sharka Zulu there. Sharka Zulu looking back to the inside as they're coming into the final part of the lap. Robe holding it around the outside there and keeping onto the position really nicely. Zillabank says, hi guys, great racing, top commentary. Cheers mate, thank you. Oh, is Robe wide onto the gravel there, getting it horribly wrong. Sharka Zulu there, back up into 3rd, so Robe, all that work, all that pushing that he's done to get himself into 3rd place. He's now lost out. Shark Zulu back up into that position again, and Robe's got to now bridge that gap down and hunt him down all over again, as that is the Audi of Lowell 3000, the lap car there just behind them. I just very quickly need to go and grab something, guys. I'll be literally back in 1 minute. We're going to stick with this battle for the time being because it's the only two guys that are really close at the moment. Thank you very much, GGJ. I appreciate that, mate. That's very, very kind of you to say. It's a lovely compliment, that is. Jill Silver on the back of Sanks right now. Still trying to pressure him here for 8th place, but nothing doing at the moment. Fierce Mars still on the back of Alexi, mate, here. You can see this battle for P12 continuing to rage on. Gap between Sharkazuda and Robe is now just over a second. But it's actually just dipped down under a second there. So Robe continues to chip away, showing he's got the pace over Sharkazuda, but just hasn't been able to find a way through over the course of this race. He's been on the back of him now for some time, and has shown that he's got the pace over him because he's closed back up onto him after losing out a few, well, about a second or two. GGJ there saying, I saw Jalma race here a few times. I tried it myself, but I should stick to F1. Well, to be fair, you're not bad at ACC at all, GGJ. I remember you raced in the Sprint League on the PS4, and you weren't bad at all. I think you were up there. You might have been like, you know, on the fringes of the podium. I can't remember if you got a podium, but you were definitely no slouch, and you were very good, I would say. But yeah, I remember when you sort of came off F1 for a bit and focused on ACC. But yeah, it's personal preference, isn't it? I mean, for me, I've just always been more into sims than F1. F1's a bit arcadey. It's kind of like, it's going the way of Simcade. It is kind of like going that way. It's always been an arcade before. It's now kind of going towards a bit more towards sim. But the thing is, the F1 game will never be a sim, because the thing is, it's going to put off any casuals who are playing a game. If it's too realistic, if it's too complicated, it's going to put people off. So they have to make it so that it's at least sort of tempting for people who are not like hardcore technical people. But GGJ says, I had one lucky podium because someone didn't bring enough fuel. Well, you obviously did, so you know you deserved the position. You deserved the podium because you did put enough fuel in. Stephen Archibald, Archie in the comments, who races with us on Project Cars 2, he says, can't wait to get back on ACC, should be on PS5 soon. Hopefully we'll see you on the track very soon, Archie. It'd be great to have you back. Obviously raced with us on the PS4 on a Wednesday night, and so Wednesdays has always been his night. Be good to see him back on the track mixing it up with these guys. It's been a while since he's been on ACC. It's been racing on Project Cars 2 since we moved on to the PS5 for ACC, because that's where he can get his sim racing fix. He's a reserve for our Clios on Tuesdays. Has been racing as a regular on the Monday night Clios, but we had to move him to Tuesdays this season. But he's obviously not able to make the rounds every week at the moment. But nonetheless, great to see you tuning in, mate. Welcome along. Good to see you watching here. But Robe still on the back of Sharkazuda as these two fight it out over 3rd and 4th. Robe did actually briefly get ahead of him, but then Sharkazuda immediately took the position back, and now has that podium position once again. Jill Silverin and Snoopy still fighting out over 9th and 10th places. You can see Jill Silverin just holding on at the moment. Robe getting closer and closer to the back of Sharkazuda, but just not really in a position to challenge him at the moment. They're coming through the final couple of corners here of lap 50, 14 or 15, I'm not sure. Lap 14 it is, yeah. So these guys are about to compete their 14th laps of the race. Here we come over the line. Robe a little bit closer, maybe 0.2 of a second now. Is he going to look to the inside into turn 1? It'd be a brave move to go from there. Is he going to think about it? He just thinks better of it. Oh, I tell you what, he's looking, isn't he? Really looking up the inside, but Sharkazuda's got that covered off at the moment. Snoopy still on the back of Jill Silverin. Can he get a run coming out of the last corner? I don't think he's going to be able to. Jill Silverin looks like he's far enough ahead as we're coming over the line here to start lap 15. Oh yeah, 0.7 of a second, so he's definitely going to hold on into turn 1 there. Is Jill Silverin. Back to this battle for 3rd and 4th places. It's still anybody's guess as to who's going to get that final podium place. GGA saying F1 is too big to be a sim, definitely so. But nonetheless, it's really good now. It's not a complete arcade game anymore. It's got some realistic features, but yeah, it needs to be immersive, but not realistic. That's what I always say. F1 needs to be. It needs to give you the feeling of driving an F1 car. It needs to make you feel like you're an F1 driver, but you don't want to actually feel like it's an F1 car, if that makes sense. In the meantime, it looks like Robe must have made a mistake because he's dropped well off of the back of Sharka Zulu. So Sharka Zulu's now has got relative daylight here in third place. He's got no pressure here from behind him. I don't know where Robe dropped it. It must have been somewhere through the middle sector, but he's now nearly 3 seconds adrift of Sharka Zulu at the moment. Jill Silver stood in the back of G-Sanks. You've got Snoopy there in the background, just trying to keep these guys under some pressure at the moment. Tyner's currently out the front. Has got an 11-second lead over Luca. He's absolutely dominating this second race of the night here is Tyner. He was on the back of Max Power for the duration of the first one. Eventually got through with Max Power making a mistake, or with Tyner maybe pushing him around. Not sure what the situation was there. But ultimately Tyner managed to take a very last ditch win in the first race. Tonight in this second race it's been nothing, not even similar. He's led this one since the start. Had a bit of pressure from Luca in the early laps, but then started to eke out the gap and pull away. And yeah, in the final sort of half of this race he has just gone and just full on dropped the accelerator pedal and said, that's it guys, I am off. I'm going to take this race by the horns. I'm going to win it by some margin. He's currently doing that brilliantly here. Capriga still on the back of Kangi as these two fight it out over 5th place. Oh, is in the background there. Lamper bends it into the wall. He's getting absolutely steaming into the barriers there, and that must be his wheel again. Surely that's his wheel. Sanks moves through. Jill Silverin and Snoopy are all going to gain a position here, and Lamper down to P10, and he's going to have damage on the front of the car as well. We must have caught Lamper's wheel packing it in again. He's left the session. Oh, what a shame! With only a couple of laps left to go as well. He was in a position where he could have taken a very creditable 7th place position there, but it's all gone down the pan. As we see, Kangi and Capriga still running quite close in 5th and 6th. G-Sanks has got Jill Silverin and Snoopy. In fact, Snoopy's now ahead of Jill Silverin, so he's made that move somewhere. Didn't see that one as it happened, but we can see it clearly in front of us right now. And Snoopy there is in 8th place here in this one. The timing board yet to update. Tynus is on his penultimate lap of the race right now as he's coming through the middle sector. Just under 12 seconds is his gap right now over Luca. Capriga within a second of Kangi, just about. We know these two good friends. I think they sit in party chats together and often socialise throughout the week. We've got Jill Silverin still on the back of Snoopy here, batting out over at 8th and 9th places. Top 3 looks to be in the finishing order, says GGJ. I reckon so. I reckon so. I can't see anything changing here unless Luca makes a mistake. I think that Shakazu is going to be settling for 3rd. Could even be 4th if Robe is able to get onto the back of him here. But I don't think that's going to happen now with 1.4 seconds currently separating them. Capriga and Kangi still separated by just under a second. Jill Silverin still keeping Snoopy on his toes at the moment. But we're very much at the business end of this race at the moment. As we're on the final lap of the race, Tynus in the house, 12 seconds is his gap right now over Luca. Robe's gained about a 10th on Jarkazuli there coming through the middle sector. But he's going to have an absolute stormer of a final lap if he's to have a chance of taking a podium. Finishing 3rd in the first race, I think it's going to be a P4 in the second race. 1.1 now the gap between Shark and Zulu and Robe, so it's come down a little bit. Capriga just over a second behind Kangi. You've got Jill Silverin still on the back of Snoopy at the moment. Oh, is Jill Silverin wide there onto the gravel and losing time there to Snoopy in the process. There's our Lamper there in the comments saying again controller disconnected. So he's very frustrated there about that one. Sharkazudu and Robe here still separated by 6/10. So they're coming through the middle part of the lap right now. Capriga is on the back of Kangi here, just under a second. Still separating those two, but not really much of a change there. Capriga is not really turning up the pressure. Kangi's just got every answer to his pace at the moment. Robe 6/10 off the back of Sharkazudu, and I tell you what, they're a lot closer now than they have been. Robe might have a chance coming into the final half a lap here. if he can catch Shaka Zulu off guard, if he can get a good exit out of this section, he might be able to have a chance coming down the dip into the at the end of the straight, into the right hand hairpin. I tell you what, he has got a good chance here of making this happen. Tinus in the house is coming through the final corner and he's about to take the victory here in the race 2. It's going to be 2 from 2 tonight for Tinus in the house to start off his season. What a great job there from him, as Robe has made the move there on Shaka Zulu. He's done it right at the end, but Shaka Zulu's still fighting him as they're side by side. They're coming through the penultimate corner. Oh, it's so close. Shaka Zulu wide onto the grass, and Robe looking to the outside. They're coming into the final corner. Shaka Zulu parks it on the inside. Robe's going to try and go around the outside of the final corner as they get onto the power now, and Robe's done it around the outside. Great move there from Robe. Luca takes second. Shaka Zulu there gets mugged by Robe right at the end. A double podium there from Robe tonight. Shaka Zulu flashed the lights there, showing the respect to Robe. He rates that move. That was a great move there. Good clean battle right at the end. Kangi takes P5 ahead of Capriglia, so he holds him off there for 5th place. Capriglia 6th. G-Sands coming to the final corner, and it's going to be a 7th place finish here for him, ahead of Snoopy, who will come home in 8th place in the end, with Jill Silverin over to take 9th place here in race 2. And these guys are a little way clear of Kev Sim, who's going to come out of the final corner to take a 10th place here in race 2. GGA says that's a shame, we were running in a good position. He was unfortunately there for Arlampa. Fierce Mars coming into the final corner is going to take 11th place. Fednaz has already finished a lap down there in 15th place. Fierce Mars will be next over the line here to finish this race in 11th place. Had a good race in the first race, not so much in this second one with the damage on his car really affecting his performance here. Leximate coming out of the final corner is going to take 12th place here in this one, ahead of Totally Zero K, who will come home in 13th place. Raki coming to the final corner is going to take 14th place here in this one. Fednad and Law 3000 both finished the race. And that is that then for the second race here at Motive. That's that for the GT3 Sprint League here on a Wednesday night here on the PS5. Great to see so many people turning out for this first ever round here on the PS5 for the Sprint. And Tinus in the house taking the double win. In dominant form here in this race too, after the first race did not go all his own way. But great performance there from him. And Luca taking 2 second places and Robe taking 2 third places. So the same podium, but obviously Max Power was a real factor in the first race, and Shaka Zulu did occupy that final podium spot until right at the end of the second race. So certainly not a dominant performance from those 3. There were other people in the mix, but ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everybody for tuning in live here on the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video. Let's try and get this video to 20 likes if we can, guys. That would be absolutely amazing if we can do that. But yeah, from all of us here at Motive, it's a very good night. We'll see you next week. Join us next week for round 2 of the Sprint League here on a Wednesday. We will be live at the same place as we were at the same time as we were this week. Not the same place. We'll be live from Paul Ricard actually at the same time, 8 PM UK time. Join us next on ACC on Sunday. We'll be back for the GT3 Championship, the first round, tiers 1 and 2 from 7 PM UK time on Sunday night. And also we'll be live on it for F1 on Friday night, and also on Project Cars 2 for the Clios and the touring cars. We'll be live tomorrow on Project Cars 2 for the touring cars as well at 8:30 PM UK time, so join us for that. But thanks everybody, and we will see you all later on. Thank you and good night.